A man walked into the same hotel as the President of the United States. He checked in the day before. He assembled a shotgun inside the building. He charged through a security checkpoint. He fired at a Secret Service agent. And Donald Trump, the most protected person on the planet, was sitting just meters away. This wasn't a movie. This happened 4 days ago, on April 25th, 2026. And the more you learn about what went wrong that night, the more questions you have about the people in charge of keeping this country safe. Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because today we are breaking down exactly what happened at the White House Correspondents' dinner shooting, and more importantly, what it tells us about Donald Trump's America in 2026. Let's start from the beginning. So, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. For those who don't know, this is basically the biggest media party in Washington, D.C. every year. Journalists, celebrities, politicians, all in one room, in black tie, having dinner. This year, President Donald Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and members of the cabinet were all in attendance. It was actually Trump's first time ever attending as president. Thousands of guests inside the Washington Hilton Hotel. And then, at 8:30 p.m., everything changed. A suspected gunman stormed the lobby outside the dinner, prompting the evacuation of Trump, along with members of his cabinet, from the event. Security personnel shot at the suspect after he forced his way through a checkpoint just outside the hotel ballroom, where the president, first lady, top officials, and hundreds of formally dressed guests were assembled. A Secret Service officer was struck by at least one round fired by the shooter, but the agent was protected by a bulletproof vest and is expected to be okay. The suspect was apprehended at the scene. The president got out safely. And on the surface, you might think, okay, the system worked. But when you look at how this happened, the system didn't work at all.
Now let's talk about the suspect, because his story is genuinely shocking. The suspect has been named as Cole Tomas Allen, born April 11, 1995, a tutoring teacher, video game developer, and mechanical engineer from Torrance, California. This is not a career criminal. This is not someone with a long, violent history. Allen earned a degree in mechanical engineering at Caltech, the California Institute of Technology, in 2017. He then went on to receive a master's degree in computer science at California State University in 2025. 2 degrees from prestigious universities. A Teacher of the Month award at his tutoring company just in December 2024. And just minutes before the attack, Allen sent a written manifesto to family members. Officials called it a politically driven document targeting figures in Trump's administration. He described himself in the manifesto as a friendly federal assassin. Acting U.S. Attorney Todd Blanche said, "It is clear, based upon what we know so far, that this individual was intent on doing as much harm and as much damage as he could." And here is where it gets really uncomfortable. When journalist Norah O'Donnell read Trump an excerpt from the manifesto on 60 Minutes, which said, "I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes," Trump exclaimed, "Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody," prompting O'Donnell to ask, "Oh, do you think he was referring to you?" He volunteered that. Nobody asked him if it was about him. He just assumed. On national television, the day after someone tried to attack the dinner he was at. Now, here's the real story. Because the question isn't just who did this. The question is, how did he get so close? And the answer to that question should make every single American very uncomfortable. Law enforcement sources confirmed that the suspect had checked into the hotel the day before the event, on Friday. He traveled there by train from Los Angeles to Chicago, and then Chicago to Washington, D.C. He was already inside the building, while the president was getting ready for dinner. Nobody stopped him. Nobody checked him. And it gets worse. Multiple witnesses said the gunman assembled a long weapon, pulling parts from a bag in an unsecured storage area near the entrance of the hotel with little to no security presence before moving towards the ballroom. He built the weapon inside the building. He didn't sneak in with a fully assembled shotgun. He walked in with parts in a bag, sat down in a storage room, put it together, and walked toward the president. And nobody saw him do it. The manifesto he wrote, sent just minutes before the shooting, said something that should embarrass every single person responsible for security that night.
He wrote, "What the hell is the Secret Service doing? I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing." He was surprised by how easy it was. The man who came to attack the president was shocked at how little security there was. Let that sink in for a second. Now, here is the bigger problem. Who cut the budget? Here's where I want to connect some dots, because this is the part of the story that almost nobody is talking about. We have spent months on this channel documenting exactly what DOGE did to America's security agencies. The cuts to the FBI, the cuts to the Department of Homeland Security, the cuts to FEMA, the cuts to the very agencies responsible for protecting Americans. Cuts to cyber personnel and resources at the Department of Homeland Security have meant less information sharing with critical infrastructure firms. FEMA has lost many of its most seasoned leaders, taking with them decades of expertise that can't be outsourced or quickly replaced. And just days before the Iran war started, FBI Director Kash Patel fired a dozen agents from a counterintelligence unit, not because they were bad at their jobs, but because they had investigated Trump over classified documents. So the question you have to ask is, when you spend a year cutting security agencies, firing experienced people, gutting the institutions designed to keep threats from getting through, should you really be surprised when a threat gets through? Trump blamed the building, not the security planning, not the year of cuts to the agencies responsible, the building. The same hotel, by the way, where Ronald Reagan was shot 45 years ago, which means they've known for 45 years this venue carries historical risk.
And here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud, but everybody is thinking. This is the third time. The most serious incident came in July 2024 at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, when a gunman reached a rooftop overlooking the stage where Trump was speaking. A spectator was killed. Trump was wounded in the ear. A few months later, an armed man was found waiting near Trump's golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, intending to kill him. 3 times in less than 2 years. And after every single one of these incidents, the same pattern plays out. Trump calls himself a victim, blames the other side, takes no responsibility for the environment of political violence. When asked about political violence on 60 Minutes, Trump said, "You go back 20 years, 40 years, 100 years, 200 years, 500 years. It's always been there. People are assassinated. People are injured. People are hurt." So his response to the third attempted attack on his life is shrug. This is just how it's always been. That is not leadership. That is a man who has normalized political violence so completely that he can't even recognize it as a crisis anymore. Share this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of each other.